Pecha Kucha 142, Avengers Endless Wartime. So this Avengers one-shot was sitting on the floor for 3 days with me just looking at it like, oh god, I can't bear to read another Avengers book that's going to screw it up. And then I finally read this thing and I find out it's a masterclass in how to tell a team story. But before that, continuing like Onakage Tennis 2, Frieza's got the book. I'll do a recap of the story afterwards. He's disappointed there's no boobies. He was misled by Skeletor, who they have a chuckle, and then Frieza finger beams him, presumably to death. Who knows? I found this online when I was looking for reference. If I gave a fuck about anything I did, I would do this. This is awesome. I'm not even a He-Man fan, but this is how you Skeletor. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But yeah, so we've got 5 or 6 of these back and forth comics going. Johnny finds the old Onakage Tennis. He gets Mappa punched by Slayer, who gets mist-fined but appears behind him and then steals the book and disappears. That's 1 and 2. The turnover for these is quite quick. The book is delivered to Frieza, who is in a flying fortress, because why the fuck not, right? Then Frieza reads the book. He's disappointed it's got no boobies. Skeletor laughs in his face and gets finger beamed through the chest. And I think maybe 2 or 3 days later, the next page came through. That's the thing about, just banging them out sketch form. The laser beam through the chest opens the ogre room, and out comes the ogre, who is a boss or a mid-boss from Sekiro, from Software's latest game, which I haven't played. So it's going to be interesting to see what I do with this. I have a few ideas. None of them make sense, but that's perfect. So Avengers Endless Wartime. I don't even think I flicked through it when I picked it up from the library. I just thought, oh look, it's in the snow and everybody looks sad. Let's see where they go with this in a Marvel book where no one's allowed to smoke. Because Disney. But although that was before Disney took over. This is old. It's from like 2013, but not that old. But it's interesting in that every character is quite well defined. Captain America is actually a man out of time and is defined as a man in an alien country called the future. He's quite somber. He's the plot centers around him and Thor and something from their past coming back to haunt them. And it feels like everybody is moving forward for some very strange reasons. Captain Marvel comes along and has a kind of friendly rivalry banter thing going on about the Army and the Air Force, which her and Captain America represent in the Avengers mansion while Jarvis jokes. And all of this is like they're starting at breakfast and everybody's introduced, and this is the perfect way to start a story. Tony Stark comes in and he's an asshole, but he's everybody's drinking his coffee. He's insufferable but clearly a genius. Black Widow and Wolverine are here because there was talk of stomping, because everybody's making jokes about killing Iron Man through this entire fucking thing. Wolverine calls bullshit on Captain America because they're both in World War II, and Wolverine just says, don't tell me you never killed anybody, because Captain America's making some kind of point about being righteous and honorable or something, and Wolverine's like, nah, that's not how it works. And then we actually get a flashback of Captain America killing some people in World War II, but it's also super advanced Nazi technology developed in the middle of nowhere has resurfaced 50, 60 years later, but it's also been strapped to a monster that Thor fought many centuries ago, the Nidhogg. I mean, it's Norse mythology, but how accurate it is, I don't bloody know. But Thor recounting the story, it's full of shame and personal embarrassment. He beat the thing. He was prideful to challenge it. He beat it distastefully, and it's not something he once brought up. But the thing that the Avengers now have to fight, Tony Stark very cleverly calls Norse Nazi maggot robots of death. It's a silly story, but the characterization of all the characters is really what drives this. It's almost a moot point that they have to go fight anything. And then Bruce Banner gets airdropped in by S.H.I.E.L.D., who are very ambiguous and very corporate in this, because they've basically created these Norse Nazi technology things, or co-opted them, and they've dropped Banner in to tell them to back off. and everybody is really uncomfortable around him because they do not want him to Hulk out. They are afraid of the Hulk, and of course the Hulk does Hulk out towards the end when they get to the super secret future Nazi base. And he just murders this army of these things. I don't know how else to describe them. There's an endless amount, but he's not troubled by them. And this is where Black Widow kind of shines as a character. Iron Man is on his ass. Everybody else is getting wrecked, and she's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, man up and win. She's Russian and stoic as fuck. It's her thing. She's a badass. I swear she doesn't even have superpowers. So the thing that Thor found has been turned into a weapons factory of sorts. Hulk kills it, but Wolverine has actually killed the masterminds behind this whole plan off camera while Thor and Captain America were doing their little macho thing, and he throws it in their face and then walks off. He clearly is not welcome on the team, but he's the asshole that gets things done. And Hawkeye's been the comic relief through this whole thing, but right at the end he has a somber talk with Captain America and explains why they're called Avengers, because they avenge their dead, and sometimes that means you, Captain America. Also, you are old. So a really good book because it's led by characterization. Everyone in the Avengers has a purpose, fits into the story, and they're not friends, they're just people who are saving the world together, and that's a really interesting dynamic. I highly recommend it. In fact, I'll be trying to get a copy of this. Hopefully not hardback, because it is hardback and it's not that big. But not sad clown of the week, but maybe, I guess. I finally got around to playing my copy of Hitman Game of the Year, but I'm pretty sure it was Game of the Year something like 2015, 2016, and I just started playing mine yesterday. I've bought this game twice, and I have played very little of it. This is a strange way to mark one's progress, but it's on my to-do list and I'm doing it, so that's got to be a step in the right direction. So that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 142, and I will see you next time.